Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Jared. This is Justice's Waiting Room, a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. Take a deep breath. Morning. This is not what we voted for. Jesus Christ. Ice passed through where I live about 16 hours ago, apparently. Okay. I'm thinking about all of the people that Russia and Israel have unalived and will unalive on their unholy crusades. Um, I hate that there's so much tension in the Middle East. I think it's because God's not real. And when people go there, they have this fever dream that I know people are disconnecting. I mean, I'm just, all these people are doing this in the name of their God. BB's not an atheist. Vladimir Putin's not an atheist. Russia invaded Ukraine with the blessing of their papal. Israel's committing a genocide in Gaza. And I think it's because you go there and you think there's a God and you get there and it's just the desert. It's just really hot. Everything's really far apart. There aren't good roads. And you suddenly realize none of that shit happened. They died in the desert. That's what really fucking happened. Wake up. Ask my friend. And I hate to like seriously talking about 2000 plus years ago when society was much less developed and speaking much more factually than people are willing to accept. But if you ever have left the United States at all, and specifically been in like the Middle East or Europe. Yeah, Europe's good too. You kind of realize some shit. Man, they really beat God into our head, huh? Everywhere you go. Beautiful buildings. Beautiful buildings. A lot of homeless people though that don't sleep in those buildings. And it makes you suddenly realize how we used to give a shit about people. You know, one of my fondest memories when I was a little kid was my mom used to work at a soup kitchen when we lived outside of Chicago. Everyone used to matter. Not so sure about that anymore. But Israel launched a preemptive strike, which I think is a mistake. The fear now is that Iran's response would be a mass casualty event. Um, I mean, this is how the world ends. This is how the world ends. My hope is that Iran stays. Yeah, I saw that too, Angie. I'm not so much worried about that. So, one of the fun things that I have an insane level of confidence over is the independence of the U.S. Missile Command. I went to college with one of the smartest people that have ever lived, and they work for U.S. Missile Command. I ain't doing that shit here. I ain't worried about that. Yeah, my systems at work went down yesterday, for a good couple hours. I had one of my best days at work though. I closed 3 deals over 100,000. I got a $500 bonus. I look like a fucking stud. Morning, Kelly. Yeah, it's as we talked about yesterday. Because people are panicking and they're like, "Oh my God, Jared, they sent Marines into LA. They're gonna fucking kill people." And it's like individuals are gonna make terrible decisions, and Marines are not above other people. Individuals make bad decisions. Okay. Starting with that officer that got on fucking TV and said the National Guard was gonna assist ICE with detaining fucking people. No, no, that's illegal. Now, I want to point out that it's fucking LARPing. They don't have live rounds. And I know you're like, that's a good thing, Jared. And it's like, no, dingus. Think about this shit. The President of the United States sent ICE, the National Guard, and the Marines into LA with non-lethal rounds. Rubber rubber bullets. They're LARPing. They're wannabes. There's not a single self-respecting person working with ICE. Not a single one. And if you put your camera on them and you ask them if they have a warrant and who are you here specifically for, and you just put them all on blast. I'm live on whatever right now. What, what's your name? What about your name? Well, I mean, your faces are all over the fucking internet, so good luck. Who are you detaining? And understand that I just want to keep pointing this out. This isn't how this country does deportation at all. This is not how this works at all. There's a reason that he's using ICE like this. It's because deportation's boring. Immigration into the United States has been waning over time as countries outside of the United States become more developed. People have been actually moving back home, especially since COVID. I work on the phone. I talk to people all the time, all day, every day, and have for the last fucking decade. And more recently, people have been talking about like I had to move home with my parents. I'm in Honduras, I'm in El Salvador, I'm in Costa Rica, I'm in. You know that the primary issue that you can't just house people is insurance and permitting. You drive by homeless people. Homeless people, every major city. It's because it requires a permit to house, and it's about insurance is why and I'm not saying like people should be homeless. That's not what I'm saying. As somebody who is now making ungodly amounts of money, I have looked into like building tiny homes and giving them to like families and shit and being incredibly kind. But did you know you literally can't do it? You can't buy property for the purpose of putting a residence on it, put a tiny home on it and give it to somebody. You can't do that. Now, what I can do is build an LLC and have my LLC buy land, zone it for business, uh, put a tiny home on it, and attempt to rent it for $1 and hope that you get the same quality of individual that wants to live in this tiny home that is willing to go through a fucking qualification process. And it's like, why wouldn't they just get a fucking apartment? Why would they trust me? I'm not doing fucking building and property maintenance, right? I just want to put in a tiny home that has running water and give it to somebody that doesn't have a place to live. How I'm thinking that should cost me less than like 100K a unit. No, I have to build a business around that. There's a reason only someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger has the fucking money to buy a lot, zone it for commercial, then put all them fucking tiny homes on it. There's a reason that's the only example that we have. Oh, there's one more. There's another, a single other person on in the United States. And I think what we could do, I think what we could do, am I just making this up as I go? Why should I have a script? It's a daily show. Yeah. And so what I think we could do is buy a big spot of land, okay? You got to have some grass and some plants, and then the rest of the space needs to be tiny homes, and there's got to be a lot of solar panels and gardens, not trees, because again, you maybe like look trees to like border the property or line the property, but not in the property. Um, you wouldn't want is because of roots and the root systems and the way root systems would interact with your slabs of concrete that you put your tiny homes on. Okay, so why not buy pre-existing structures and rehab them? Because of the cost of those pre-existing structures. It's much easier to buy a lot. For example, there's a lot. There's like a open flat lot, 20K, right around the corner, zone for commercial. I drive by it all the time, and I'm like, 20,000 zone commercial. I could put two tiny homes on that, and it's a dirt lot. Okay, but what I'd have to do is lay slabs to and run water because there's water run there. Hell, there's fucking fiber internet run to that lot too. But in terms of buying pre-existing structures, it's because of the cost. If you're getting them for nothing, you're talking about rezoning, which isn't necessarily getting you no permits. So you're saying that you can buy in the United States, more specifically in Indiana, you can buy land, zone residential, put a tiny home on it, and give it to somebody. I don't think you can legally do that. I think that the land has to be zoned commercial. You put the because I've done my research. There's a reason like Arnold Schwarzenegger did it and this other guy did it, and they both did it under the umbrella of an LLC. And when they were asked, why didn't you just buy the land with your immense wealth and use your immense wealth to build all these tiny homes? And they were like, well, because you can't legally fucking do that. So you can't just like buy land. that's zoned residential, put a tiny home on it and give it to somebody. You can't do that. Hmm. I want to build like a camper park that's like permanent tiny homes built on like a old fuck, I don't know, like a drive-in movie theater. But yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger built 250 tiny homes and gave them the fuck away. People like pulled up with truck and trailer and took themselves a home. Yeah, all you got to do is go to I mean, they're like $50,000 houses. The problem would be stability of a home built in amongst the trees. The higher you go up, man, them trees are really moving up there. The wind's really something. I know it, in theory it all sounds great. We've done a in my mind because my brother owns a construction company. Like I grew up working construction and shit. Bob said a lot of buildings built with our tax money are sitting vacant all over the country. Yeah, I get that, but here's the problem. We're talking about acquiring these buildings then. I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for the government buying up all these used buildings and just turning them into housing and shit. But again, it's permitting and insurance. And again, you're talking about state housing. Again, people keep talking about martial law and shit like that's a desirable outcome. It's the same thing with a state-run housing program. It's going to be selective. It's going to be racist. It's going to be sexist. It's going to disproportionately affect people of color and women. I'm just trying to look out for other people when I say, like, I think in order to do it to the degree that I want to do it, you got to buy a piece of land that's zoned commercial, build a bunch of units on it, and then sign a contract for just like $1. And y'all are in this together. Keep the peace and the water running and clean and shit like that. Because in my eyes, we're gonna have to become a lot more of a community. One of the things that I'm so thankful for was when we started this journey, uh, my furnace blew out. Now, fortunately, I want to make sure I also say we also got very lucky that we had a mild winter and that people gave us enough money to get ourselves those little portable heaters, and our little house heats up like a woo. So we did not suffer at all without a furnace, and it's because of the community. And I wanted to point that out that not everything that you do needs to be for profit, and not every dime you spend needs to get you something in return. Sometimes you're just helping someone else out. And one of the things that I notice, especially with my job, is a lot of the reason the people that I talk to are in debt is because they had to take on someone else's bills in debt. Someone else had a medical issue. They were taking care of their grandkids. So, and I do want to make sure that I say, like, I'm not asking you for money, but I am looking at you who use Credit Karma, for example. Look at how much unsecured debt you have. Unsecured debt is debt that's not tied to a tangible object, like a car or a house. Okay? Look at your unsecured debt. Look at your payday loans, personal loans, student loans, credit cards. If that's over $10,000 and you're, even if you're in repayment or not, That 10 plus $1,000 in unsecured debt is holding down your credit score. It's making it difficult for you to get a place to live, making you pay more for rent, pay more for cars. Now, I'm not promising you credit repair. That's not appropriate for my title. I don't work in that field, and that's a scam. But a byproduct of paying down your unsecured debt is an increase in your debt to income ratio. Okay? Which means that your credit should improve as a result of this program as well. It's just not it's a feature. It's not the main thing. The main thing is paying your debt off and getting out of unsecured debt, because when you're paying 500 or 1,000 or more dollars a month on that unsecured debt, 80% of that is interest. So not very much of the money that you're putting towards unsecured debt is actually affecting the principal. $10,000 in debt at a normal minimum payment is going to take you a decade to pay off, and it's going to cost you $25,000. Now, imagine if you have 15, 20, 25,000. I'll put it like this. If you have $20,000 in unsecured debt, it's 25 years and costs a couple hundred thousand. So, hey, there's a reason that I dropped out of college and was like, oh, debt is exploding in the United States. People are losing their jobs left and fucking right because this administration's full of fucking idiots. Hey, every day I help people that say, Jared, I'm paying 600. Well, mostly I work with a little higher debt clients now because I've moved up in the field. But most of the people I talk to now have 50, $60,000 in fucking unsecured debt. But what I've noticed is we're starting to pick up student loans, and that's incredible. Hey, there's a reason I'm talking about my job at length. Hey, I've noticed I could help you save like half of your student loans and stop the interest in some cases, as long as they're not like private student loans, like Advantage or whatever. hmm It's fucking incredible. Isn't that incredible? Imagine you're stuck on this dumbass repayment on your student loan that's carrying interest and it's fucking killing your paycheck. And then, hey, I'm like, hey, we could take on your student loans and we can negotiate those down and you can stop paying interest on them today. Anyway, if you need, you might want to write this number down: 1-877-230-7106. My direct extension is 2729. Mm-hmm. I'll help you. Mm-mm-mm. Uh-oh. 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 Yeah, it is. Zeke, yesterday, two of my three clients were crying on the phone. Yesterday was one of those days where you get off work, light a cigar. I made $1,000 yesterday. Two people fucking cried yesterday. Like one woman when I told her that I was about to save her like $800 a month. She started crying and said, "Now I can take my dogs to the vet." Kill me. Um, that's you would prefer if they were just like, "Oh, cool," and kept it moving. Instead, she burst out into fucking tears, like, "Oh, I can take my animals to the veterinarian now," and you're just like, "Oh shit." And I talk to people all day that are just obsessed with making their on-time monthly payments, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, where's that got you?" On the phone talking to me, bitching about I'm paying $1,800 a month on minimum payments, and I'm like, "Okay, did you know 80% of that $1,800 a month you're spending is interest? It's literally just going in someone's yacht." And they're like, "What did you just say?" And I'm like, "Okay, you pay $1,800 a month on 7 credit cards." And they're like, "Yeah, okay. 80% of your minimum payment is interest." And then they're like, I'm only putting $360 a month towards principal, and I'm like, yeah. Well, I make more than the minimum payment, and I'm just like, silly rabbit. Tricks are for kids. The interest is actually worse on an additional payment. You know why? It's because with these credit cards, you're never done paying interest. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's the worst game ever. Credit cards are the fucking worst. The only reason I ever got a credit card was to buy a house. I got one. hmm So keep this in mind. I've only ever had one credit card. For 5 grand, Capital One, I probably paid them people 50K. It's the fucking worst. Yes, definitely. And I didn't pay them 50,000. That's ludicrous. I paid them $200 for probably 3 years. $200 a month for 3 years. Easy money. So, and I'm one of the and to the surprise of fucking absolutely no one, I'm one of the best in the business. So, there's a reason I can sit here and talk about it at length because I'm the fucking goat. It's awesome. It's awesome. And the best part about it is there's a guy that's better than me on my team, so I don't have to say shit. I can just be really good at my fucking job, make really good money. And I'm an anti-capitalist, right? So the capitalists are making a little too much money off of y'all, and I'm sitting here going, so it was 45,000. Yep. And I know, and I've got at least one person in my community that I've got one client that sits in the show. I can't remember who it is. That's on me, which tells you it's Mama Sierra. I think we are saving $600 a month. It's fucking rad. I'm not think the best part about my job is I'm not costing you money. I'm saving you money. Most of the time I'm like, okay, I'm sure you already know all this, but if you keep doing what you're doing, it's going to take you 24 years to pay this off and cost you $75,000. So I understand why you're looking to make a change. And they're like, back up. What did you just say? And I'm like, oh, so well, I was being nice and saying, like, I'm sure you already know all this stuff, but if you just keep making minimum payments on that, it's going to take you 24 years to pay it all off, and it's going to cost you, 5 or 6 times what you owe. And they're like, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, yeah, you are. That's what you're doing right now. And they're like, oh, fuck. How am I even going to be here 20 years? I'm like, none of us going to be here in 20 years. But you could be out of debt in the next few years. And they're like, I'm in. Where do I sign? Like, fucking done. I want you out of debt in the next few years, and I want you with a savings account. Raise your hand if you're saving $1,000 a month. If you're saving $1,000 a month, are you paying $1,000 in interest? Because most people that are saving $1,000 a month are also paying $1,000 a month in interest. So just because you are able to save does not mean that you're not overspending on interest. You are literally pissing money away in a time where money is scarce. So I don't know. Seems wise. Uh, you should probably give me a call. Mhm. I'm trying not to talk about what's actually going on in the world because the world's on fire, kids. The country that's committing a fucking genocide that the United States is forever fucking tied to as an ally has now blindly attacked Iran as well. And the response from Iran is expected to be a mass casualty event. So, hey, Stacy said they just see those words, congratulations. you're approved and your limit is, and their car will be there in 10 days. Yeah. You know what the worst thing is? I had someone with $334,000 in debt. And they were so deep in their credit cards. Yeah, 300. I don't know how in the fuck you got $334,000 worth of money that people were willing to fucking give you. Holy shit. But he was so deep that his credit card payments were bouncing off of each other. Oh, it was so bad. He was so negative. He was negative 2 grand a month, but he's making so much money, like $14,000 a month, that fucks he care. And you're just like, no, no, you pay you paying like a $4,500 minimum payment. You got like $3,600 in interest a month, and I'm like, you could be putting that in your 401k, not all of it. You could be putting that in a savings account. I can't sign up for your program because my cards rely on each other. Otherwise, I'm broke. And you're just like, what? Yeah. So don't be that guy that I literally you make too much money to keep in mind, you can make too much money to declare bankruptcy. And most of the people that I talk to don't qualify for bankruptcy. I tried. I tried. I call them every day. Hey, I am but a guide. I can only guide you. I can only tell you I was a data analytics student at Purdue and had a job at PNC Bank, and I left Purdue and a bank to work at this job because my best friend who was struggling for a long time, yeah, got a job with this company. And before he made money, he signed up for the program. And as an employee, so I want to make sure I point this out. As an employee, you pay no fees for this program. The fee is 25% of the negotiated debt. So that means that he signed up for this program with 53,000. This is my best friend. Signed up with $54,000 in debt. 63, sorry, 63,000. They negotiated it down to 24,000. His repayment on 63 was 37 years. He's 45. He was a life sentence. Hmm? Cut his payment from, I think he said he was paying like $2,400 a month minimum payments down to like 400 or 500 bucks a month. That was as an employee. So obviously it's astronomical when you're able to say they were able to negotiate your debt from $63,000 to $24,000 and take your payment from $2,400 to 400 or 500 bucks. Yeah, and it'll be out of debt in a few years. And after that, so understand, after that, I mean, that's his mortgage payment that he just saved by enrolling in the program. That's enough to keep you in your house when you think shit's about to get rough. So, oh my God. And then he had been struggling financially to the degree where he had to pawn his fucking Lexus because he could go to a pawn shop and they'd give him $3,000 or $4,000 cash for it, and then he could go buy it back and pay like 3% interest on that. And so he calls me crying and said, I had a big month and I got my bonus check. And I was like, "Oh shit, how'd you do?" And he was like, "Oh, at 22.6 million." And I was like, "Oh, so what did you get paid?" And he was like, 26,000. That was for a month? And he was like, "Yeah, my third month on the floor made 22 points, wrote 2.6 million in business, got paid 26K for 1 month of work." He said it was enough to buy his car in full. He owns his title for his car anymore, and now he has a savings account so that he doesn't have to worry about pawning his fucking car off in the event that he has like a bad month of work. So not only did he get this job, sign up for the program, and the employee perk is you save 25% of your fucking debt as a fee to enroll in the program. Think about that. He had, what did I say? Because we just had this conversation where he was like, I listened to the show. I want to make sure that you have the right information. He had $63,000 in debt when he signed up. Jesus Christ, man. I just typed it out on the calculator like I do all day at work. And I'm just like, God damn, 60K. But the reason I tell you all this is I don't do it with a smile on my face. So this person that I've just been telling you about, I told you about their financial situation. He's a homeowner, he lives downtown. He also works at the same company. He's the one that got me this job. Okay. Uh I see him a couple times a month. Okay. We sat down not long after I started, and we compared our finances. We're about the same age. We're basically from went to college in Indiana about the same time frame, within a year or two of each other. One was at IU, one was at Purdue, though. Okay. Have uh, similar habits. Play video games. We don't go out and party all the time. So we're not, we're living a quiet life, right? But when we compare debt at the same age, same education level, same income level, both homeowners with about the same mortgage, he's got a car now, right? Like that's paid for. Keep that in mind. So while you're thinking about this, how does he have $57,000 more debt than I do over the last like 17 years? Let's do a little math in our head, everybody. How, if two people are about the same age, now you could say that he's black and that's the black tax, and we talked about that too, where he felt like he pays more for shit because he's black. And I was like, what? And he was like, I feel like I get charged more for drinks. I feel like my food bill's fucking higher. And I was like, shut up. And he was a server at what's is it Dick's? Where they're a dick to you? He was a bartender there and a manager there. But and I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. It's Indianapolis, Indiana, baby. Um, but it could be the black tax, but it's not. Okay. So what I want you to think real hard. Two people, similar habits, same age, college in the same state. It's not student loans. So I'll take that off your plate. Damn it, Stacy. You ruined my whole spiel. I'm just kidding. Um, by the way, that happened to me when I was in high school. Not to me, I did it to someone else. Like ruin their whole spiel. Um, so what had happened was is that I'm a disabled veteran and I pay $0 for healthcare. That's it. It's like the whole thing. We'd even been married about the same amount of time. Healthcare costs. Hmm. That was the fucking difference. Over a 17-year period between us. 57 to the tune of $57,000. You know why? Just the cost of his insurance. He was basically paying about 300 bucks a month for insurance that whole time. Except for that 5-year period where he'd been married, he was paying 600 bucks a month because he's married. I've been with my wife 10 years. Wow, it's crazy. No, that's not true. It's 8 years. You've been married 8 years in July. But the difference between us is that he's basically paying like an extra 300 bucks a month for insurance that whole fucking time, plus whatever happens, like whatever medical debt he generates just. And there's a reason that, like, think about knowing my best friend that lives 20 minutes. I mean, we live on the same l- latitude. Is that not crazy? Like my best friend and I, we basically live at the same latitude. But it's his costs are 50, $60,000 higher over less than 20-year period, all because of the rising cost of healthcare. Which by the way will force him to work overtime. This is a sit down job, which is not healthy for you. The money is astronomical, so you're kind of tied to your fucking chair showing up for work every day, right? Singing for your fucking dinner, right? But mine doesn't reek of desperation. I'm not desperate. I have to coach my best friend on not coming off so fucking needy. Because I know it costs more for you. We've been over our finances. I know you're basically paying a car note, right? It's basically like a fucking car payment extra a month because he has to pay for healthcare. And I've told him like, you drove me to socialism because we sat down and we talked about what is our difference? What is the difference? How the fuck do you have $65,000 in fucking debt and I have six? So think about over that period, I haven't had to pay for healthcare or any healthcare problems that I've had. And what did it cost, you ask? Oh, I almost got my fucking right arm amputated while I was on active duty, and my battle buddy got fucking murdered while I was on active duty. That's what it costs in order for me to have free healthcare. Now, it's not the same for everybody. Yeah, everything. It only costs people. Yeah, I mean, it's exactly correct. In order for me to have gotten benefits, someone had to die. It was either that or my right arm. Because they were trying to, before I found out that RJ had been murdered, they were trying to only give me 30% for my arm, even though it's basically useless. I want to point this out. They said I could have got 100% disability if they let me, if I let them amputate it. But understand that 100% is not 100% because I am more than 100% disabled and it doesn't work like that. Now, so there's a reason that I'm a socialist. I want everyone to have universal health care, education, income, and housing. Hmm. Yep. Why? Because my disability covers my mortgage. I don't have the weight of that too. So I want the people around me to not have to pay rent or mortgage, right? Because otherwise you're going to develop a disdain, right? Because if it weren't for the fact that my mortgage is paid, then I'd probably be asking for money, right? But instead you do pay my mortgage. You just don't know it. So in turn, I'll spend the rest of my life trying to give that to you. And you don't ultimately have to do anything. I just had to work myself into a financial position to be able to protect myself and uh, establish the American Socialist Party formally. So that I am doing something. And speaking of doing something, tomorrow's a great day for a protest. I took the day off. You never know when it'll be your last. Do I expect fuck shit? I expect fuck shit. So know that if you're going out to protest tomorrow, expect fuck shit. You might wear an extra layer. I wouldn't get into the oversized stuff, but you might wear extra layer. Jesus Christ. Go Pacers. 100 more protests have been added tomorrow. Yeah, be careful because it's supposed to be raining and thunderstorming and shit. And if you see lightning and so if you hear thunder and count 1,000 to 1,000 and see lightning within like 3 miles, you got to get inside. Did you hear what I said? So when you hear 1,000, 1,000, okay, it's a couple miles away. You need to get inside. Um, that would be my guidance. Okay. Um, know that um you have such a low probability of getting struck by lightning. Um, I say that as the grandson of a man that got struck by lightning twice in his life and lived to tell the tale. He is no longer with us, but still, that motherfucker was like 90 plus when he died, and it wasn't because he got struck by lightning. Wild, right? But the overall probability of you getting struck by lightning is low, so long as you aren't waving around a metal object. you know, yes, yes. And know how powerful you'll be when those ICE agents that are wandering around with non-lethal weapons, which is the most bitch shit ever. Who takes that job? Hey, we're gonna send you to Los Angeles with less than lethal rounds in your guns. You're gonna go fucking LARP in the goddamn jungle. I watched a video yesterday where they were using pepper spray on the fucking crowd who had like masks on and shit, and they just shot them back with bear spray. What the fuck are you gonna do? That shit is worse. And threw shit at them and push them out of an area. Remember, hey, this is what a lot of people prayed for was the ability to like fight against the government. It's gonna escalate. It's unfortunate. I'm really sorry ahead of time. I am not a violent person by nature. Um, I'm a pacifist. But again, it's the same thought process about being anti-gun, right? I would be anti-gun if everyone that didn't look like me wasn't in grave danger. But it just so happens that everybody that don't look like me is in grave danger. And so I think it's kind of pointless to be like, oh, I don't think anybody should have guns when everybody's trying to kill the people that don't look like me. So I just think that if you need to protect yourself, first of all, you should stay at home. If you feel like you need to protect yourself, okay? If you feel like you need to arm yourself, stay home. Um, remember, you don't have to go and be at a protest forever. You can go and show up, and once the moment you feel your fight or flight kick in and you're just like, I don't think, go home. hmm You went, you saw, you conquered. You did a lot more than a lot of other people who are just gonna sit on their fucking couch and watch this shit happen and not speak out about it. I'm taking the day off tomorrow. I'm thinking about a sign. So I was hoping we could spend some time today coming up with sign ideas for me. Um, I wanted to make a sign that says, the U.S. is a nation of immigrants, and um, this country was like built by immigrants. Because I'm a big white dude, right? And if I don't say, hey, immigrants built this country, immigrants are vital. I'm an immigrant. You're an immigrant. We're almost all likely immigrants. It's just unfortunate that the people in charge of us don't seem to have it all together. That there are people out there that are pro ICE. There are people out there that think violence against Americans is acceptable and that it doesn't break a whole bunch of fucking laws. Um, the US military is not to be used against its own people. It's literally not what it's for. And one of the things that people keep talking about martial law, but people don't realize what that means. You don't realize what this means. And I think that the outcome will not be what people think it is at all. Here's the way I perceive this. The people that like us in the audience, I think that there's a lot of people here that think when martial law happens, it's going to target liberals. It's going to target the left. And oh, they're going to make us miserable. And then no. It means that everybody's in the chain of command in the United States government is subject to the UCMJ, including the fucking president. And he so much as fucking flinches, and it's a whole different fucking ballgame. Why do you think there aren't lethal rounds in fucking LA? Because of the JAG, because the fucking attorneys said, sure, you can have some green ass Marines from 29 Palms, which is just a duty station. And by the way, what that old gunny said is fucking bullshit, by the way, because multiple people sent me a video of some former gunnery sergeant saying 29 Palms, that's where they put pit bulls in cages and fucking dude, they haze people everywhere. What are you talking about? They give that pit bull in a cage speech fucking everywhere. I played football for the base team. Our coach used that speech. And hazing is a thing everywhere. So he's a fucking idiot. And think about the life of a Marine Corps infantryman is just much different than everyone else's. Like you wake up, run your ass until you can't fucking walk anymore, and then go eat breakfast. And then your fucking work day starts. And then you go through your work day, and generally like in the morning you are preparing. So you're like getting all your gear into your truck because we're going to the range tomorrow. That's your morning. And then you spend the afternoon cleaning your rifle and getting it ready because you're going to the range tomorrow and you want to make sure it fucking works. Right? And then the range is 2 or 3 days most of the time. And you're not driving your personal vehicle. And you're going to be in a vehicle full of Marines and you're going to go to the range. And that split between the morning and afternoon will be broken up by chow. Okay. And so when you go eat lunch, a lot of us go lift weights because you know you're getting off work too late and you're probably going to go drink beer or something like that after work. So you got to go lift during lunch. And you have to get the lift in during the day when you're fresh because you know you're not going to have the gas to do that after work. You're going to want to fucking sit down and drink a fucking beer. What the fuck? Right? So keep in mind that was 6 days a fucking week. There's a reason I try to get people to do it as a fucking coach because your life is completely fucking different than everybody else's when you're up at 4 o'clock. And to think about what happened on November 5th and think about what triggered. I went right back to just like I'm on active duty in the Marine Corps Infantry. I'm up at 4 o'clock in the fucking morning, and now I got dogs. Now I have four fucking dogs that are stuck in the house with me all day. I gotta go take them all on a walk. So this morning, I got up, brushed my teeth, took a shower, and immediately it was like, son of a bitch, I have to go take these dogs on a walk. And they're dragging me the fuck around. I mean, it's not nearly as hard as we were working back in the Marine Corps, but still, so that I can come in here and then I'm doing what I argue is far more important than what I do for a living. Although what I do for a living pays my fucking bills. Sitting with you all for 90 minutes a day and talking about what's going on in the world, easily the best expense of my time. It does not pay me. So that's the fucking thing. That's how you know I'm not a fucking capitalist. The thing that I do in my life that is the most important thing that I do, other than like be a loving spouse and like be good to my animals, is spend 90 minutes a day talking about the way it fucking should be and talking about what's really going on in the world and really going on in the United States. Not sensationalizing shit. Just saying, "Hey, yeah, it looks like Israel attacked Iran and killed some of their leadership and Iran responded with a major drone attack. Um, Supposedly, Iran's move was to destabilize Iran's nuclear enrichment program. The expectation from Iran is a response with a mass casualty event, including attacks against the US. This is how wars start. This is exactly how wars start. Not that that isn't the start of a war, but I meant like a war that the US would get drug into because he got shit leadership at the top, shit chain of command, right? Keg's breath, major drinking problem. So they're gonna get us involved in this conflict. And the thing about it is, with drones everywhere, you don't want to put boots on the ground, and if you do, you're just putting them in harm's way. Yeah, for Donnie No Wars has at least three or four going on, and his friends. For example, Russia, his friend Vlad invaded Ukraine, and they're getting their ass kicked. Israel, uh, I know that this isn't couth to say, but Israel's been fucking up a genocide for like 75 fucking years. They still haven't taken over Gaza. Um, and then also Israel, Bibi, close friend to Donald Trump, uh, invade has attacked Israel or Iran. I'm sorry. And again, the attempt to um, yeah, I just that's so fucking crazy. Thanking your oppressor, right? It just tilts me. What are we talking about? By the way, Judge blocked Trump sending the National Guard to California. Yo, I just saw an ad on Reddit for a HELOC, home equity line of credit. No, no, do not take a secured loan on your fucking equity on your house. That is a terrible financial decision. If you get into a financial problem, which typically you have a financial problem if you're getting a HELOC, okay? Let me tell you how bad a HELOC is for you financially, okay? When COVID, what about 2 years after COVID hit, um, my wife and I got into a little bit of a financial problem and we were contemplating a HELOC. And I literally posted one time on Facebook thinking about getting a HELOC. Before, I swear to God, before I pushed fucking enter, I had a message in my inbox from a couple old ladies I work with, and they were like, how much do you need? And it ended up being like 3 grand just to pay off all of our bills and get us back caught up. They gave us the fucking cash and said, whatever you do not ever take out a HELOC, especially if you're having financial problems. It's like double your mortgage. So now instead of paying your mortgage, which you can't pay, now you have another $800 bill attached to it that you have to fucking pay. If you don't, they'll take your house. Oh, yeah. Don't get a fucking HELOC. And why? How did I know not to get a HELOC? Because they got a HELOC and it cost them their house. And so they went so far as to give me the money and just say, "Here, don't even worry about repaying us. Just don't get a fucking HELOC." I'm dead ass. That's a true story. Hmm. Now, hopefully, those women that I worked with for years, hopefully they know that I'm the founder of the American Socialist Party, trying to deliver universal health care, education, income, and housing to every American. Hmm. Hopefully, they know I'm trying to do right by them. But yeah, so there's a lot of people out there that listen to my show and just aren't unwilling to look inward at your own debt situation. Look at your little Credit Karma app. Count up your little credit cards and your personal loans and your payday loans. Hey, if it's over 10,000, we gotta be talk. Let's clean up your credit. You never know when you'll need to buy a pew pew. You never know when you'll need body armor. You never know when you'll need rounds, bullets, band-aids. You want solar panels? You want to buy a generator? You want to grow a garden? You should probably get out of that unsecured debt and stop pissing your money away. Yeah. And ultimately, if you're broke and you need a new job, you should probably talk to me. This is the easiest job I've ever had, pays the most money I've ever made. I don't know about y'all. I'm trying to spread that around. Yep. More important stuff that you might need. Trump lost in federal court. And this shit right here, Sheriff Wayne Ivey threatened to kill anti-ICE protesters, offering multiple graphic, sadistic descriptions of how police would do it. Um, Look how big that bloated piece of shit is, with these sad ass motherfuckers standing around him, knowing good and well they ain't gonna do shit. All those people up there that you see up there, they're not patrolmen. They work in an office. The problem is that their culture permeates. That man, Wayne Ivey, he's ain't going anywhere. He's a tribal warlord. When without swift condemnation and a swift resignation, he is a tribal warlord that will probably be maybe he resigns, but it's Florida. My thoughts are he gets not only elevated in his position but deified. I thought I thought it was really weird how Vladimir Putin was looking over his shoulder thinking China's gonna backdoor invade him, and within like 2 days, Bibi instigates a war with Iran. And I have a feeling, like, here's the thing that people don't realize, okay? Here's the thing that people don't realize. Russia is the weak link. I'll say it again. Russia is the weak link. Their army is getting their ass kicked all over the fucking place in Ukraine. They invaded a much smaller country, and the last report from President Zelensky was that they're pushing the Russians out of Oblast. So last I checked, the much smaller military Ukraine is pushing Russia back in a whole swath of land in Ukraine. Mhm. And remember, one of the things that we learned is that as Ukraine advances, it lays mines. Uh, Basically, that the Americans were fully cooperative here. So I think that Bibi just put all of us Americans in danger. I want to make sure that we point out that Benjamin Netanyahu is also committing a genocide in Gaza, free Palestine, and that Vladimir Putin illegally invaded Ukraine, and Ukraine is kicking his ass. Slava fucking Ukraine. Yeah. Here's the softest motherfuckers you know. Oh, and hey, one of the things I've realized is police are real quick to headlock. All you gotta do is change levels. When you see their elbow go above 90 degrees, that's how you know they're trying to headlock you. And so you may not even see their hand because it might be behind your head. But when you see their elbow up, that's when you know that he's going to try to headlock you. And all you got to do is keep your weight back and duck your head, and he'll completely whiff on that headlock. And then what you want to do is you want to lock your hands around their waist, okay? And you want to pull them to you as you pull them up and kick their legs out from underneath them, and you want to ram their face into the ground. I know that's way more complicated to actually do than it is to describe, but I'm going to do it again. So, what I've noticed police like to do is use what I call a bully technique, where they just want to headlock you. And if you've ever wrestled, some kids just never move on from the headlock. Okay. And what I try to do is teach people how to defend what I see as the cop's first move. Cop's first move is not to strike you. They're trying to headlock you onto the ground. And I wrestled. And in fact, I was 37-7 my senior year of high school. I actually whoop people's asses that are bigger than me. Like I fell the big trees, the 265-pound boys at 205. Okay. So like I said, when they you know they're gonna fucking headlock you. It's the only move that they have. Okay, or they're gonna attack you from behind like a pussy, or gonna sucker punch you like a bitch, right? But on the whole, they're gonna try to headlock you. And I just want to make sure you keep your weight in your ass, keep your weight back, and duck your head. And when they turn their back to you, that's when you lock your hands around their waist, pull them to you, lift them up off the ground, kick their legs out from underneath them, and dump them on their face. That's how you fight someone off that is trying to headlock you. Like they're trying to reach for a necktie, like it's professional wrestling. That's the only way they know how to control someone is with a necktie. Uh huh. No, no, no. Forward. You don't ever want to pull someone on top of you. No. No, 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 no. Nope. When you get them from behind, when you pull them to you and you lift them up, and you're using your leg closest to them to kick their legs out from front of them, and you're just dumping them on their fucking face. Yeah. You're not throwing anyone and letting them go. No, 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 no. You want to use their weight to ram their face into the ground. Uh huh. Uh-huh. And you know what's great when they go to headlock and they whiff, you can get your arm around their arm and pin their arm to their body, and then they can't stop it either. There's no defense when your arms are pinned to your side. And I've got my arms around you locked, and you can't do anything, and I just lift you up and dump you and just ram your face as hard as I can into the ground. Forward. You're going forward. When you ram their face into the ground, you're probably landing on their back. Hmm. But again, the reason that we're talking about it is because I keep watching videos of police try to headlock people, which is where they just try to like grab you by the neck and then they're going to try to pull you to the ground, right? And I'm just saying put your weight in your ass and duck your head and you'll duck right out of that shit. Now, what you do from there, kick them in the back and run, I give a fuck. But you're big enough, strong enough, fast enough, you can corral them, lift them up, and dump them. Yep. They said it's been peaceful in Tampa, but it's Florida. Testimony reveals American CEO Mike Lindell paid $1.5 million for secret CIA software to rig elections. Ball sack kicker. I'm only 5 feet. Yeah. You know, and I mean, ladies already know this, but aside from the balls, hmm, you know, 2 fingers into the eyeballs is just real good. Hmm. Hmm. Except when it's life or death, it's not just trying to touch jelly, right? You're trying to rip them some bitches out. Hmm. I would only tell you to go for the third if you have something sharp. But yeah, you're seeing people. And I want to point out that the President of the United States is literally getting us involved in a war when he turned off help for people after natural disasters. So, for example, you remember that real bad storm in St. Louis? People still just living in rubble, didn't get any help. Yo, what up, Chris? The Missouri governor preemptively called up the National Guard. Remember, one of the things that people forget is that in order for it to be a crime, you have to commit it. So a lot of people are like, how could you let this happen? And it's like, well, in order for some people to understand that shit is illegal, you got to let them actually commit a crime. Okay. And remember, the president of the United States was too coward to send them in with live ammo. So ICE, which is being funded by Palantir, has its agents cosplaying. And remember, they don't have a warrant and they don't have firearms. Those are those are practice. Those are paint pellets. They're non-lethal rounds. They're just bullies. And you know what's going to be really unfortunate? I thought about it yesterday. Like, what would happen if ICE came to my house? And all I could think about was, well, I don't have what they have, but I will when I'm done. So, and they're also not coming for me. Why the fuck would you come for me? I'm an American citizen in my own house, not threatening violence on anyone. But I think about what it's going to take for ICE to just cease, to just stop. And it's when somebody takes it into their own hands. When they catch some 300, yeah. Um, I think that they're trying to instigate us and that we can just keep protesting, boycotting, and striking, and you'll have greater effect. And you should really get rid of Facebook, Threads, IG, WhatsApp, Messenger, shit. Even TikTok's toxic as fuck. I want to keep pointing it out. I actually feel better when I'm not on TikTok. My whole day is gonna be better today because I don't have to think about the bots on TikTok instigating me. Um, but Senator Padilla is correct. It's on us now. They're arresting government officials. You know, your government isn't going to help you. And I think about, it's crazy. My wife told me this yesterday that my brother and sister-in-law's family, because of Fishers, Indiana, because of how much money they make, how much rich people live there and pay taxes there. They make so much money that all the city employees get free healthcare. So for the first time in their whole lives, my brother and sister-in-laws are able to take their kids to the doctor and just let them get whatever's wrong, fix it, whatever. It has no cost. One of her girls is a senior in high school. They'll still vote Republican, even though their health care is socialized and how it was, they were crying on the phone being able to go to the doctor, to let their kids go see the doctor. Yeah, it is the most potential for the biggest audience. So you'd be kind of remiss if you didn't put content on it. But I haven't created TikTok only content in a long time. Everything that I post goes on YouTube first. And if Neptune or Skylight, if they get their shit together and put out an app that I can go live on and that I don't have a limitation on how big of a video I can put on it, I'll switch. I'm hoping it's Neptune, but I mean, it remains to be seen. It was supposed to come out, so Skylight does have a cooler name. And I like that the girl that's starting it is a social media user and a content creator. I think it's cool. A little bit of Eat the Rich, close this up, get out of there. Hey, Crystal, have a good day, everybody. Appreciate y'all. Go get in some good trouble this weekend. I'll obviously be here tomorrow morning. I took the day off. I think with what happened last night with Israel attacking Iran, I think now more than ever, it's time to protest. I'm gonna make a sign. Have a good day. Oh, by the way, the new update is live on Path of Exile 3.26. Um, so that's probably what I'll be doing in my spare time between that and playing Magic. So if you're wondering, like, what does that idiot do with his spare time? Y'all have a good day.